Hi everyone, do you know what time it is?
I've already told them it's Baggy Hi-Fi time, you idiot.
Greetings cats and kittens, welcome once again to this YouTube channel called Baggy Hi-Fi, a channel devoted to the vinyl community here in the UK and record collecting. So how are you all doing? I hope you're enjoying the good weather we have going at the moment. This is a part 2 video. You might have seen by the title. This is called Rescue from the Garage Part 2, the 45s or the singles. If you didn't see the previous video, I'll just give you a bit of background. That previous video was about myself going back to the place where I used to live, and the garage still contains quite a few things that belong to me, and that's the arrangement I have with the tenant. So this goes back about at least 8 years, certain things that I haven't quite recovered and brought over here, and that includes records and CDs. So a couple of weeks ago, when some of the lockdown restrictions were lifted and we could travel a little bit further, I drove that distance to go over to the garage and pick up some records. And so in the last video I was talking about some of the albums which I've retrieved and rescued. Some of them I can't understand why I left them behind in the first place, and that applies to these singles as well. So I've just picked 10 out of the pile of singles that I brought back. I may do one on the CDs as well, because there's quite a few of those, and I may add in a few 12-inch singles as well, because they were also some of those were also retrieved and brought back here to Baggy Hi-Fi Towers. So let's plunge in with the first 7-inch single. This is from Yola Tengo, acclaimed indie 3-piece from Hoboken in New York State. Or is it New Jersey? So this is a single that I think is from the early 90s, and the A-side is a track called Shaker, but it's the B-side really that is the real winner. It's on green vinyl on the Matador label. The B-side is a cover of Richard Thompson's For Shame of Doing Wrong from their 70s album Pour Down Like Silver. Great songwriter, of course, is Richard Thompson, and Yola Tengo do it justice. In fact, Yola Tengo are well known for being doing some great cover versions of classic tunes from the 60s and 70s. In fact, I think they do an annual radio show on WFMU in New York, where they take requests and do their own versions of songs. So they have a massive repertoire, and this cover of the Richard Thompson song is a very good one. Now back to England with this second 7-inch single. This goes back to 1990, and as in the other video, I must warn you that there's a very diverse, lots of diverse styles of music in these records. This is by the Vibra Cathedral Orchestra. Now, they were a band from Leeds, included Neil Campbell, and this is on the Freedom From label from about 1990, I believe. So, white label. So one side, there's no track listing. One side is the Vibra Cathedral String Band, and so that's a improvised piece, just using lots of strings, and the other side is Vibra Cathedral Drum Troupe, and that's very, as you'd imagine, percussive. So this is very improvised, minimal music, very good. I really wish I had some Vibra Cathedral Orchestra albums as well. I think this is the only thing I have by them, but I might be able to work myself backwards and pick up some of their output. Neil Campbell, I think, is still operative in the avant-garde circles of Yorkshire. Now this one, again, completely different. This is a bit of disco, and this is on the Contempo label from 1974 by Roberta Kelly. It's a novelty record. Novelty, I'm not averse to the odd novelty record. And this is Kung Fu's Back Again. cashing in on the kung fu craze of the 70s. I'm going to do a needle drop of this one, so I hope you enjoy it.
Here comes the man, the big boss man. Kung Fu's back again.
Down in Chinatown, there's a change coming round. Kung Fu's back again. It's the end of you instead, and you're ready for the game. Kung Fu's back again.
Now recently on the vinyl community on YouTube, I've been enjoying the videos of Steve Whitty and also Richard McCook, who both show quite a lot of music from the 70s of the UK and the glam era. In fact, Steve Whitty did a recent overview of UK glam records after reading the Simon Reynolds book Shock and Awe, and it was a very enjoyable video. And also Richard McCook has been talking about bands like Middle of the Road in very entertaining style. So this, as you might expect from that introduction, is another record I retrieved from the garage, which is from the glam era. And so here we are on CBS, on the orange CBS label. It's Chicory Tip, Son of My Father. They didn't have many hits, but they were a pretty good group. This is so catchy, and in the main it's so catchy because of the Moog synthesizer riff which goes throughout, and it goes sort of like it's a wonderful record. I knew I had this one, and there it was, lingering in the garage. Now it's rescued. Now moving to more recent times now, I'm sure you've all heard of the band Stereolab. Well, this is an offshoot of Stereolab, and this is released in, this would be in the 1996, yeah, I think it was mid-90s. One side is not connected with Stereolab, it's by Scott Bond, but it's two tracks on each side. But the other side, the side by Monard, is a duo of Laetitia Sadier, French singer from Stereolab, and someone called Rosie Cuxton. She may be in Pram, the band Pram. Anyway, fairly minimal, quiet, strumming music with a few interjections from synthesizer. Very pleasant. Possibly a bit of a rarity, I don't know. I'm going to play a needle drop of this for all you Stereolab fans out there. Okay, so the next in this batch of 10 rescued 45 RPM singles is by Guided by Voices. I think were they a duo? I definitely know it was Robert Pollard and somebody called Sprout. This is from 1995, and they were a very prolific indie band. Home recorded, I think, a lot of their output. Lo-fi, this is again on Matador, like the Yola Tango single, Matador Records, and this single is called Motor Away. Like most of the output by Guided by Voices, grungy but melodic, almost Beatlesque at times. Next one, back to the UK again, and back to the early 80s. You might be surprised at this one. Dollar. I have a soft spot for Dollar. They were produced by Trevor Horn in those very glossy early days of 80s pop. But I think the Trevor Horn productions, which were indeed very glossy and expansive and dramatic, suit that sugary style of Dollar. And this is Give Me Back My Heart. And I think I have a few other singles tucked away somewhere by Dollar. The Therese, she was called Therese Bazaar. What was he called? David Van Day. I saw him in a 70s or 80s horror movie recently. So there you are. Some early 80s pop. Next one, going back to the States, different style altogether. The Mummies. This is punk garage rock 60s style, but this is recorded in 1990 and it's an EP. Very nice, from San Mateo, California. The gimmick that the Mummies had, as you can see, is that they wore bandages, mummy outfits. This is extremely raw garage rock, 60s style, as I said, and quite a nice package altogether. Mono, of course. How could it be anything else? There's a nice Mummies postcard and lovely photocopied flyer there. So quite treasure this. I don't know why I left this one behind. The kind of thing I enjoy. Going to do a needle drop of this one as well. Now on to a 7-inch single from a band from Liverpool, and they were the Lotus Eaters with You Don't Need Someone New, and it's from 1983. Now, in the early 80s, there were a few bands from Liverpool who sort of specialised in this sort of floppy fringed, fey, romantic, soft pop type of music, and the Lotus Eaters were one of them. The other ones were the Wild Swans, and who else were the Pale Fountains, yeah. So very sort of wimpy music, but some of it did cross over into the charts, and the Lotus Eaters did have a hit single with First Picture of You. This one is similar. I don't think it was much of a hit, but now the Lotus Eaters have got a sort of a bit of a cult following. I think they were very successful in Japan. I have a kind of soft spot for this record. I didn't think I bought it new, but produced by Alan Tarney. Didn't he produce Cliff Richard? Anyway, they were certainly aiming for the charts with this kind of stuff. So that's You Don't Need Someone New by the Lotus Eaters from Liverpool. And I am from Liverpool, by the way, originally. So onto something a bit more abrasive, post-punk, the pop group. This is from 1979, and I think this may have been their first single. She Is Beyond Good and Evil on the Radar label, formed in the late 70s. Not really a punk group, really. I mean, a lot of the music is these sort of shards of sort of punk, funk, with elements of dub reggae as well in here. It was produced by Dennis Bovell, and this is an absolute classic. Why did I leave this one behind in the garage? But an amazing record. I remember when I first got this, I used to play it again and again and again. And all of the output, the records of the pop group are highly recommended. Mark Stewart also went on to produce records solo in a similar vein. You know, lots of dub influences, very political, agit-prop music, very left-wing. Excellent. So very, very glad to have this one back in the collection. I think I'll leave it there for now with those 10 singles. I was going to talk about some 12-inch singles, but I will leave it there now. My next video is going to be about recent purchases, all online of course, because the record shops still aren't open here in the UK. our great glorious leader Boris has announced that non-essential shops may be open by the 15th of June. Will that include record shops? All that flicking through records can't be good for the spreading of germs, can it? So we'll see. But in the meantime, I'm sure you'll be in the same position. You've been ordering records from Discogs and eBay and various other sources. So in the next video, I'll be talking about those, and there are quite a lot of them. So in the meantime, enjoy the sun. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
I'm sad.